Good evening, everyone. This is an amazing opportunity to have some fun on a Thursday night. We know that Queen Bee normally comes to you on a Tuesday, but we got a hot topic we got to talk about this evening, honey. So, for those of you who are new to Queen Bee, my name is Lydia Chapman. As you can see by the little black line right like below my face, right? It says Lydia Chapman, Black Girl Growing, also representing Selma Air, Selma in the house. All right. We also are joined by Miss Kim Moon, founder of Positively Beautiful, because she is absolutely gorgeous, baby. And Zeke, our friend, honey, with the fabulous background. Like, oh my God, I want to be where he is right now. So I'm like, I'm trying to travel too.
Yes, come on.
Yes, I want to give everybody a chance to say hey to folks, and then we diving off into this topic, y'all, because this thing got hot. It's a topic that people want to talk about, and so we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna tell the truth and shame the devil. Miss Kim, come on.
So hello everybody. Y'all know me. Y'all know what I do. I say just what I got to say. Now, even though we talking dating and Christian and all that stuff, look, I'ma try to keep it clean, but it's just hard sometimes to keep it clean. But I'll try.
Okay then.
Yes. What's up, everybody? My name is Ezekiel Cheney. And yes, Miss Kim is going to say exactly what comes out of her mouth with no justifications. But that's what we love about her. But I'm a 40-year-old single male here in Atlanta. Looking forward to giving, my perspective from a male advice and learning as well.
Absolutely. And so this hot topic, listen here, we are going to be talking about this word called dating. So I do want to invite folks though, because dating it really is a topic that we got to discuss. It is something that people are not necessarily, people have different ideas about what dating is these days. There is such a thing called biblical dating, so we are going to talk about that as well. Now, we are not talking about Christian mingle or Christian dating, but we will talk about biblical dating, okay?
Okay.
Nor are we talking about,
let me know
what is it, Black Planet and all this other stuff?
Yes, none of those.
What is it? What is it?
There was POF, the Plenty of Fish. There are so many.
We ain't talking about none of that. Although we know people that do it.
Absolutely. I know people who have actually gotten married to people because they've met them on apps. So no offense to the app people. Thank you. Kudos to all of those folks who have made true love connections. Yes. Love wins. But dating is the freaking topic tonight, right? So no matter how you get to it, we want to talk about this thing called dating and what it looks like, what it doesn't look like for people, what people are comfortable with. And I'm going to tell you what kind of some of this all started is because I made a post in this. I said date, period, them, period, all, period. Right. And so a whole conversation all day ensued. And so this is a hot topic that people want to talk about, asking like, can you do a table talk? Yes, we can do a table talk. It's called Queen Bee. And so what is dating to you? Zeke, what is dating to you?
Woo! It's multifaceted. It's multifaceted. Before I even get to dating, I think it's not. I don't even want to say I think. I know that it requires a lot of self-reflection. So before I even think about dating, I myself kind of like have to check myself. Like, hey, listen, is this something I'm ready for? Like, where am I mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially? Because I'm a very whimsical kind of guy, so I love dates, actually. I love creating them. I love finding new places, adventures, and stuff like that. So I have to be in a space to where I can accept where, you know, in the possibility that somebody isn't ready to date, but they think that they are, or somebody that's ready to date, but also ready to settle down after 2 or 3 days. So I have to be at a certain mental space to even accept going on a date. But dating for me is just really having a combination of things, you know, in one space. You know, you have to, I'm not going to say like you need to be equally yoked, because you won't know until you kind of get to the dates. But you have to be open. There has to be physical attraction. Of course, there has to be some type of mental stimulation. I like when I curate dates, or when I like to go on dates, I think about all of my senses, because my dates are experiences for me. So I want to go somewhere I could taste good food, and it's, you know, it looks good, but you know the wind is blowing right. We're listening to good music, because dating, I feel like you create the tools that allow you to succeed in a relationship. So I'm not sure if I explained dating, you know, as you would have liked, but I know that anytime I'm in a relationship, my requirement is, and my standard is, I don't care how long we're together, I don't care where we are in a relationship, you still have to date me.
Yes.
Like, that is just my standard. And dating me means not like, oh, let's just go to dinner. It's more than that. Like, be innovative, you know, listen, so that you understand like things that I may want coming up in the future, or you know, things that I've been wanting for years. But you know, dating requires a lot of attention to detail. What people think like, oh, you know, like we just go out to eat, you know, it requires so much attention to detail, especially on my end. I was raised by women, um, and Miss Kim could tell you, I don't let her walk on the outside at all. I'll bump her right over inside for you, Miss Kim. You know, but I think, you know, chivalry, attention to detail, definitely a listening ear, and an open mind. But you have to have that self ready first in order to even want to attempt to date.
Now, I love the fact that you talked about knowing yourself first. So, Kim, what is dating to you?
So Zeke basically said it all, but you know, first self-love is like to me the very most important thing, because if I don't love myself, and I'm not talking about the person, yeah, I love me. No, that ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you have to genuinely love yourself, meaning in every aspect of the word, from everything. Like what you'll take, what you won't take. All of that says if you love you or not. You know what you know, you have them people that do, I just want to be with a man and I don't care. Like, I don't have a problem going on dating me. I will go to the movies, sit down in there and enjoy my movie, eat my popcorn and drink my lemonade and enjoy the movie and walk up out of there like, yes, I just had a wonderful date.
Yeah.
And don't give a flying flippity flip. But when Zeke said, you know, self-love first, how can I accept love or know love if I don't know how to love me?
Yeah.
Because when you are dating and you're not where you should be mentally for yourself, whether it's mind, body, spirit, all of those things, then you're requiring something, you're asking something of a person that they probably not going to be able to give you. And then most of the time when they give it to you, that ain't what you want because you don't know.
Yeah.
But when you're sure in who you are and what you're doing, and know who you, perfect thing, know who you are and know whose you are. And I'm talking about Jesus Christ. Then you can walk and date with assurance. And if it don't work out, toodles. You know, I say it all the time. Like, it don't take me long. I don't have to date. In the past, I've dated men 3, 4, 5 years. And then it's like, this is crazy. I knew probably 1 month after I got into it that it wasn't gonna work.
Yep.
But I did it. Now, yeah, pretty quick. Pretty cute. One of my friends, she was like, Kim, you don't give nobody no chance. I do. But there are some things that I know about me that I know I'm just not gonna tolerate. And if you got on my nerves in week 2, 3, 4, why I'm gonna bother? And because I don't want you to change for me. Changing for me does nothing but make you resent me later if we don't make it, or when I make you mad, because then that allows you the opportunity to throw it back in my face. I don't want you to change. I want you to be who you are, because I'm gonna be who I am, and then we gonna mesh. If we don't, we gonna that's it.
So now I kind of disagree with that, because I do want you to change a little, like not like change your character, but if there are some things that you need to modify, you know what I'm saying? Like if you have, and I do believe, because like men who have had the opportunity or taken the opportunity to just say, like, let's cheat, right? So if that's the case, then I need you to modify that. I need you to
I wasn't speaking in reference to that. When I say that, I mean really like who you are.
That could be a part of who they are.
But do you meet? But when you meet people, have you ever? Well, I'm gonna ask you this: have you ever met people that tries to check, like? And this is very simple.
And I think that it's more
so if I say I like chocolate ice cream, oh, I like chocolate ice cream too. If I say I like flying to, I don't know, Timbuktu, oh, I like flying to Timbuktu. No,
absolutely, but that's what we see happening in what's the movie? Coming to America, whatever you like. But yeah, there are people who do that.
Yeah, so that's what I mean when I said don't change for me. Be who you are, because that's the only way I'm gonna know who you are. And you never fully know a person, because we're constantly evolving. Because if I am who I am at 50 something, yeah, like I did that at 50 something, I ain't got no business being that person that I was at 25, 35, not even 45, not even 50. I ain't really got no business being that. No. N-O. What you got to say, Zeke?
I was saying is what you're looking for is evolution.
Right.
Because most people do not change, but what you would like for them to do is evolve into something else. Like you might be a caterpillar right now, but I really need you at this butterfly stage.
Yes.
Right.
So what you're looking for is evolution, but evolution and change is gradual. It doesn't happen overnight. So people have to be in the right mind frame, and the other person also has to be willing to be okay with the change being gradual.
So I'm okay with the change being gradual, but see, to me, the one thing I can say this, and I'm still gonna go back to God has given me a spirit of discernment. You know what I'm saying? I pay attention to everything, whether I say anything or not. I listen to you. I hear people, and so a lot of times, early on, when you meet people, I hear the lies. I ain't really got time. Like I don't want you to. If a liar is who you are, then I don't want you to change, and I'm not gonna bother to entertain it. So if you're telling me lies off the rip, then I'm probably gonna call you on it. Like, hey, I thought you told me that was so and so that you was going with the other day, or whatever the case might be. And then when you start stuttering and all that, I'm already knowing, like, ain't for me. You get what I'm saying? And so I don't have a problem with slow evolving. I don't, because but I'm not gonna. There's a thing like starting to date. If you start dating me and your ass telling a bunch of lies, no sir, we ain't. I'm not doing it. You start to date me and you doing a bunch of dumb stuff, no sir, I'm out of there. However, if we get in a relationship, meaning start, I ain't gonna say get in a relationship, start dating, because there's a difference, I think, between dating and actually being in a relationship.
Right.
Like you said, date them all. I could date 50 men if I want to. I ain't married.
Right.
It is what it is. But the minute we decide to be exclusive, then yeah.
Right. And so I think a lot of folks, just to go back to the question of what is dating to you, because I know Zeke described what he desires of himself, well, what he exemplifies and what he desires of his partner. You kind of piggybacked off of that But when I think about the word dating to me is actually the experience of getting to know someone, right?
Right.
It's elevated networking, right? That's the way
Basically.
I kind of termed it on yesterday as I was interacting with people on social media. It's really just basically elevated networking, because when I'm at a business meeting, and if I am having a conversation with somebody and we decide to have lunch as a result of the conversation, technically, I mean, we're on a date, right?
Yeah.
Now, whether that evolves into something romantic, that's a totally different story.
Right.
But dating to me is just literally getting to know someone. Now, can we become attached to people from dating? Yes. Are there stages to dating? Yes. Should we open ourselves up? That depends on who you're talking to, because everybody is not able to, to network, right,
Right.
with a number of people.
Right.
The connection to dating and thinking that dating has to involve sex. Dating to me does not at all involve sex.
But do you know how many people that's just what they feel like? That's where it go to. And that's not it. Dating does not mean sex. If you date 50 people, it's okay. It's okay. If you date 51, it's okay. The problem is, don't go have sex with 51 people.
Correct.
Nobody ever said that.
Right.
But dating is getting to know people.
Right.
And if you ever date and then you get comfortable and feel like, you know what, I think this could go farther. Because at this age, my age, I don't really have time to give nobody 3, 4, 5 years again. Man, I find myself be walking around with a cane. If I keep doing that shit, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be walking around with a cane because I done gave this joke. I did it before. And think about how many people you all have dated.
Yeah.
And it went nowhere. And you probably knew it a long time ago. You just kept going with it. So at this age, I don't do that.
But see, one of the things though that you said is, and both of you all alluded to the fact that it's important, you all see it as important to love yourself. But now let's talk about, because that's kind of idealistic to me, right? Because most people, and I'm not going to say most, but there are a lot of people who don't actually know what it is to love themselves. Yet they are dating, they are having kids, they are getting married, and not really connected to who they are. Like, what do you like outside of what you do for your profession? Do you even like your profession? Right? Did you like being in college, and did you like earning your degree, or did you just do it because your mom and dad told you going to college and you going to be a doctor, or you going to be a teacher, or your auntie saying no, you got to go be a nurse? Okay. Or you did it for the check, right? Everybody's talking about, oh, well, let's get the bag. Are you dating for the check? Are you trying to connect yourself to somebody with a coin, or 2 or 3 or 4?
How many people that do?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So dating looks different depending on who that person is. It feels different depending on, like you said, self-love. How many people do we actually know who love themselves? Like, if you're stuck in an abusive marriage, you clearly don't love yourself. So how you gonna tell me you love me?
Exactly. Exactly. And
well, most people operate on learned behavior. So, like, when a lot of people operate off learned behavior, they are just mimicking what has been taught to them, what they've seen, and they don't really know themselves. So it does take, a little bit of time in your adult life to be single, to be with yourself, to understand where you are. And even when people say, oh, you're going to love yourself, there's levels to that too. You might love that you're alive, but you don't love the body that you're in. You might love the body that you're in, but you don't love your mental state. So there, a lot of different levels of getting to learn yourself. And you won't be at the master level before you get to date somebody and dating becomes successful and you're in a relationship. You learn a lot by those mistakes, by dating those frogs, by dating the crazies. You learn a lot of what you like, what you don't like, what you would accept, and what you won't accept. And you have to look at those as stepping stones, obstacles, building blocks, or whatever.
Right.
But at the core of it, It is to genuinely ask yourself, is this something that I'm ready for? Is this something that will benefit me? Is this something that would allow me to grow? And because now you're a pair when it comes to dating. You know, I'm not saying a relationship. I'm just specifically saying dating.
Right.
It is, I mean, you're representing each other on a date, but you should be representing yourself as your best self. But most
Always.
people come to impress the other person and then leave themselves enclosed.
I say it all the time, though, like what Zeke was saying, you know, your vantage point determines your viewpoint. So how you were raised, what you saw when you were growing up, that's pretty much affects how you think, how you process things, and all of those, which is why I say that dating is important, because I know a lot of women that have dated men, married men, well, dated, been in relationships and married men, and then had no clue that this dude and his mama and family all of them had a whole lot of mental illness. And now she over here like, girl, I got to get out of here. You should have figured that out before you married him. Like, come on. But that is the problem. And the dating state, like, I know people that meet a man online and in 2 months they married. I'm not saying, I'm never going to judge anybody that whether it works or not. If it works for you, it works for you, because you can get to know each other. You know, you can grow together, so to speak, as you go together. But I don't want to marry until I get to know you, because like Zeke said, you're representing your best self. And you know, when you meet people, you meet their representative, just like they meeting yours. And it takes a minute for you to let that guard down. In my case, with HIV, it's a whole different ball game when it comes to dating. And it's a whole different ball game because everybody's not educated. Everybody don't have a lot of men don't have a clue. A lot of men, you know, mean and just feel like, oh, hell no, I ain't dating no woman that's HIV. I've never had that experience, but I know people who do. But then you got a lot of men who think she HIV positive, she dating, she weak, because ain't nobody else gonna want her. So I'm gonna treat her any kind of way because I know she ain't going nowhere. The devil is a lie. All the way lie, okay? All the way.
So the question I have though, and you kind of shifted to this, is like, why is dating important? Because when I think about all of our definitions of dating, and when we think about relationships, like I consistently, as you all have been talking, I'm thinking of relationships that I know of. It's like, well, did you at all get to know them? Like, how you going through this right now? How y'all, why y'all get married? Like, you know,
real.
It's like, so you didn't know this about this person before you actually like tied the knot? Because see, now you're in a covenant, right? So we didn't talk about biblical dating, which can involve the church. It can involve the family, right? It's what most people would refer to as courting, right? When you're talking about biblical dating. So this is like old school, like when you go to the person's house, guy comes to my house, rings the doorbell, mom and dad answer the door, I'm nowhere to be seen, and they sit you down like, look, son, what's your intention with my daughter? Where y'all going? What time you coming back? Who are your people? What do you do for a living? You know what I'm saying? You running the whole list down. Now, do I feel like that's something that we need to get back to? Absolutely. Now, my mom and daddy may not answer the door, but I got some best friends that's worse than they could ever be, right? So I need to submit your resume. I need to see, pictures of you at play and like what church you go to.
All that. Yeah, all that.
Honey, are you married? Do you consider yourself married? Is there somebody who considers themselves married to you? You know,
right? Because listen, there's a difference.
It is.
There's a difference. God knows it is.
So all of these things, right, that we need to know about people can be a part of why dating is important. Because do you know how this person behaves with servers, right?
Right.
Something as simple as how a man, if I'm on a date, how he interacts with the servers at the restaurant tells me a lot about you.
It showed
Bruh,
me, and
did
it
you
is
really
so
just talk like
important
that?
to
Oh,
me.
you know what?
Get there, act a fool, and watch what happens.
See
Yeah,
what I'm
watch
saying?
what happens.
That type of etiquette really matters to me. That's another reason why dating is so important, because you need to see what the outside interaction is.
Yep.
Right.
Because you won't be in the house all the time.
All the time. And if he keep you in the house all the time, you might better be worried.
Definitely about it. Yes.
You might
want come on, Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
Right. Like you might want to be worried. But it's so much to dating. And I think dating is very important. Because it is your networking, your get to know stage. Because there have been people that I've dated years ago, and I realized later in life, like Coretta's dad, my daughter's dad, I didn't even like that joker. I was stupid. I literally had to I don't even know. He was a nut. He beat my ass. I paid for so many wonders trying to get this joker. I go to the club. This was in my young days, and I come home and my window broke out, but I don't know it because you know your house, right? You walk in the house. I know how to walk in my house and go to my bedroom in the dark. But I walk in the door and I'm in the living room. I can turn slightly to the right and then to the left, and I'm going up the steps. Next thing I know, I'm going upstairs. I'm being pulled by my hair, drugged down the steps, and getting my ass beat. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. So then the next time I go out, I gotta take the police. I mean, literally for a very long time, I had to take the police home with me. Every time I went out, I remember being at a club in Leeds, Alabama. I went out with a DJ. The DJ says, Kim, you want, I used to love to dance. I don't even know how now. Got this new school stuff. The DJ, the people at the door go tell the DJ, somebody want Kim Moon. Well, they didn't know I was on the date with him because they don't know me. So he like, over the microphone, Kim, somebody wants you at the front door. Who is that? I'm like, I don't know. I get to the front door. I'm Kim Moon. The next thing, he outside. Next thing I know, he come around that corner, click, click, got a gun in my head. Well, guess what? They go get security, all the bouncers and everybody, and the DJ who I'm on the date with. So he done pulled me out the door. He got a gun at my head. Well, guess what? Them 5 got a gun at his head. You kill, I ain't got no dog in the fight. This one of the man. I don't know this lady. But if you kill her, if you shoot her, she may or may not die. Because it's one bullet. You're sure to die because it's 5 of us. So you might well go and let her go and you go about your business. So you got to decide, it's a possibility that she may or may not die. You out of here. No doubt about it. 5 guns on you. What you pick? I'm telling you, so I had to do a lot of stuff to get rid of that man. And I wasn't even with him no more.
And so, but see, now suffering in situations like that is actually far more common than one would. Then I know I would like to think, right? Going through something like that, like whether it's emotional, financial, or physical abuse, and tolerating that from your partner is actually a sign of a lack of self-love, right? Because when you love yourself, because and Kim, you know this, I was in dating, but then kind of like situationship type of crap, bullshit. Anyway, for like not literally like 9.5 years, right? He was convenient sex, right? Convenient dick, right? Because this queen bee,
that's what we do. That's what we do.
So he was convenient dick, but it's like, you don't really care about me. You know what I'm saying? And when we initially met,
and you don't know if you care about him. He just convenient.
But see, the thing is, when we initially met, I was a high functioning depressed Black woman living in the rural South, right? So high functioning meaning I can go to work, I can do what I got to do, I can take care of my child, I can make sure that people around me have what they need. But depressed in that I was not sure of myself, I was not, confident, I was not satisfied with where I was physically. You know what I'm saying? So there were some things going on for me, but being high functioning makes people think that you're not depressed. I didn't know that I was depressed until I started seeing a therapist, right? And so after evolving, years go by, I had to tell this brother, like, listen, when I met you, I was high functioning depressed. She ain't there no more. And I said it just like that. She ain't there no more. Like, so there's a difference in what I'm expecting. And it's crazy that how, in 9.5 years, you were like emotionally unavailable. Now, never physically abusive, because see, that's the thing about dating too, why it's important. You get to tell people and learn what they will and will not tolerate. Right. Every man that I've ever dated, I'm like, hey, bruh, don't put your hands on me. We could talk about everything. We could talk about money. We could talk about sex and infidelity. Child, if you want to be out here like that, then I can be your manager, boo. I promise you. I can't tell her my cash app is $ Miss Chapman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get
Let's do this.
So you get to know those things about people. But what you're not going to do is put your hands on me. And so those are the conversations that are so critical and important, because you put your hands on me. Okay, you may get that lick in, but I promise you I'm going to get the last lick.
Listen, Linda. But do you know how many women there are that are walking around just like that, high functioning, depressive, but still doing it? And some of them not in a relationship. I have more friends right now that call me talking about they're not in a relationship. I went out with so-and-so and so, and it's just horrible. And I just don't even like him. Then why are you doing it? Just to have somebody? Hell no. We ain't doing that.
A lot of people do not want to give what they require. So if you don't want to give what you require, but you still want, company, or you still want companionship, then you will settle. So a lot of people are settling with mediocre dates. They're settling with mediocre relationships. They're settling with non-existent relationships.
Right.
But to have quote unquote companionship, they will stay there. And again, that comes from learned behavior. A lot of people, and I'll even say this for myself, because I feel like I, learned this from my mom unknowingly, feel like they could save somebody. So where you might be empty in certain situations, you see somebody else that needs help. I'm a type of person that I'm like, I can fix this, I can do that. Oh, you need this, you need help here, you got to do this. I can strategize everything and get you to 100% to where you good. Yeah. But then I'm left at 12%. My cup is nothing but melted ice.
Right.
That's called Barbara the Builder. Yeah. That is, if you are a black woman, baby, and you put your check into that man, you trying to put the nice clothes and the shoes, get a little haircut, get a little teeth straight. You saw this in not Think Like a Man. What's the movie? The girl did it with Vivica Fox was in it. She built Bobby Brown up, made him so that other women wanted him. Barbara the Builder. Hello, this is Barbara.
Right.
Girl, bye.
Them clothes he wearing.
Yeah. Listen, and I couldn't have been Shirley, because I'd be like, thank you. Look.
I know, right, honey? She'd have been mad at me.
But on the other end, you definitely have Bob the Builders too, who build a lot of these broken, insecure, unworthiful women up.
Yep.
Right.
And they're just bodies. And so then they would just become a physical attraction with zero intellect, zero brain, zero creativity. But they get the best opportunities in the world because they are female. From my perspective, it is very unfair, to be looked at as a check.
Yeah.
I agree.
Then those women you build those women up or those men, and you know, you give them the opportunity, and then they become opportunists, right? And it's just about the opportunity, but then they take that, and that's all they are, and they get, you know, to be on boats, they get to be in Ibiza or Cannes and all of this stuff, and you're left paying for it. And if you decide to cut that off, you know, then you're non-existent. But that also has to do with self-worth too.
Yeah.
Right. Correct.
Because
Well, it
if
ain't
you
just
attach
Barbara the
your
Builder.
worth to your
It's
pocket,
Bob the Builder
mm-hmm.
trying to build up Barbara with her big head ass.
Okay.
You so
Listen.
low down. But I don't know. Like, one of my friends, she cries a lot because she talks about, and I give him everything, and I'm so nice to him, and I'm so good to him. And I told her, I said, and what is he to you? You're telling me everything that you do, that you give, that you pour. I said, but you've yet to tell me anything that he's done for you, that he's even attempted to do. You know, and I think one of the other things that has made a lot of, not really made sense, but made it difficult to date, but made it easier to date. And that is this new wave of, I don't know what the hell this is, like the dating scene today.
Yeah.
Yesterday. It's just different. It is not like it used to be. You meet people, you know, whether it was online or not, they still called you, they talked to you, they respected you. However, today, I know I can probably name at least 8 people, women that I know. I ain't gonna say friends, but they meet a man tonight, they go home with him tonight, and they sleep with him tonight. Girl, you know how he's saying, let me come to your mind. Don't think about me while you're doing it. But I should come to your mind that you ain't got no business doing that bullshit right now.
Right.
Like, that is unsafe, huh?
I want to answer this, Miss Kim. So I
Go
think it's
ahead on.
2 things. The first thing with this new wave, as you call it, is access.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, when we were younger, we had to go to the mall to meet people, or you meet people at school, or, you know, or through
At
other
the ball
friends.
game,
Or through other friends.
concert.
Now you could just go right through your phone and have 5, 6 different apps and meet people.
Yeah.
You know,
Wait a minute, and they can be as simple as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah,
They ain't even gotta be a dating app.
Any of the apps is the access.
Yes.
Secondly, is the education.
Mm-hmm.
Other, you know, I like to feel like back in the day, and I want to say back in the day, like I'm just that old, I'm 40, but back in the day, we had people who were older than us, who were more experienced than us, and say, listen, this is how you navigate through a relationship. This is how you do this. You know, I was just talking with one of my friends, and they were like, men ain't men no more. I'm like, well, you can't necessarily say that. However, there are a lot of men who can't barbecue. There are a lot of men who can't, like, change a tire. There are a lot of men who don't know, you know, how to build anything in the house. But they know how to play PlayStation, and they know how to screw. You know what I'm saying? And they know how to buy.
That would be your age group, cause honey,
it ain't my age group, because I know how to change a tire.
They better know how to change a tire.
But no, but see, what he's talking about though
I'm talking about the education of it.
Yeah,
right.
The passing down of the education and the access. Nobody is there to tell young guys, listen, man, that's not how you treat a woman, or that's not how you treat a man.
Correct.
That's not how you treat your partner.
And that's what they've seen their mothers go through, because who you're talking about is young Black men who have grown up in houses with single mothers. Right. And so as a mom, if you have no boundary, if you've not established boundaries and you have no standard, and they've seen Uncle Tom, Uncle Dick, and Uncle Harry come through there within a year, you know what I'm saying? Not to shame anybody for what you do, but you gotta understand that your kids see that, and your children understand, they absorb what you're doing.
Right. So that stems back to my statement that this comes from learned behavior.
Right.
You see your mom do it, or you know, you see, like, oh, your mom got all the men coming in, but they paying the bills, or they got you a car, and you automatically think like, oh, okay, I'm a bad bitch. Like, you supposed to get me a car. That's not due to you, sis.
At all.
Right. Right.
Bye.
Get a job.
No.
So
Like,
a lot of it does stem from learned behavior. But again, if you want to redirect the narrative, then it has to do with the access and the education.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you 1000%. Now that is true because all the crime, all the different things that's going on. Zeke, where we live in Atlanta, Alabama too, though. I remember asking my son, I was like, "Where these kids' parents at?" And he was like, "Mama, they out there with them." He was like, "These kids, man, like they 20, but they mama just 32 or 33." Like, yeah, they all out there good timing together. So they ain't talk, they don't know no different. They might be 18 or 19. They mama 32, 33. He was like, so they learning together, they growing up together. And I had my kids young. I got pregnant at 15. I had my second, I had my child, I had her at 16, but it was just different for me. You know what I'm saying?
Because you probably had a big mama or somebody around you that instilled a different set of rules. There were expectations.
Morals.
Right. Yes,
morals.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. Like,
and
that's
we don't
the
have
thing.
big mama anymore. Like, she is very rare.
Big ma is glamour.
Right.
She's a glamour.
That's exactly how that works.
Yeah.
That's exactly glamour. And what's the other one? It's another one too. They say, I'm just like, wow, people don't want to be called grandma no more. I don't care. My grandkids call me grandma, and I'm okay with it. I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. But I was always that parent, like a lot of parents that do have, they raise their children. Let me give you, but I'm not raising you. I'm just giving you. Because I want, like a lot of they young, I want to keep up with the Joneses. I want to make sure you get these things. And then you have those that don't have. Well, yeah, them the ones where Tom, Dick, Harry, Billy Bob, and Joe walking up in there at night, and they uncle. This your uncle. And
but again, that all goes back to education too, because
right.
like my mother and I had a great relationship until I became self-aware, and I became knowledgeable to a space to where she was afraid of me, and I don't know if it was afraid of being exposed or afraid of like not mentally understanding me, but I had to say, listen, I don't like, what are you afraid about? Like, it's okay. And I had to remember my mom had me at 17, but my mom still mentally was a child. Like, she was sheltered. Like, she didn't know how to do certain things. Her first time having sex, she got pregnant with me.
Wow.
So there were things that she did not learn. Her mother was not able to teach her because she pastored 3 churches. Her father was a presiding elder of like 4 or 5 churches. So they didn't have time to nurture her. They didn't have the time to give her the education. All of her sisters were grown with their own families.
Right.
So the education part is imperative. Like, you have to, regardless if you have a child or not. But so she wasn't able to provide me with the tools. So she can't necessarily, she just raised me, but she was there to help in my development. Once I began to be aware of how I needed to be developed, she didn't have those tools, and she kind of like strayed away because she felt like I was challenging her. I was not challenging, her authority as a mother. But what I did, and I'll say this, and maybe this is not right, but what I did say is that if I remove the title of you being my mother, I wouldn't allow you to treat me this way. Because regardless of how old somebody gets, they still need a nurturing hug, talk, or feeling
right.
mother.
Right.
But some people, it doesn't matter the age, they are not equipped to do that. But also they don't have the education. So sometimes, just say as me as a child, it takes me to teach the parent. And sometimes that is very uncomfortable for them.
Right.
It can be. And I've had similar situations with my mom when it comes to talking about certain things right? And what you're describing made me honestly reflect on, I've heard Bishop T.D. Jakes talk about, and I think he was talking to Oprah about, you know, your mom maybe had being a pint, and I'm not saying your mom, but he was saying to her that your mom had a pint size ability to love, but you're a 10-gallon person. So she poured what she had.
Right.
And so for you to expect something more is honestly quite, you know, it's self-defeating, right? Yeah. But for many of us, that's the experience, you know, and whether it in even in relationships, whether it's, you know, relationships with parents, but particularly when we're talking about dating and growing relationships and marriages, if you are a 10-gallon person and you are yoked to a pint size person,
you're in trouble. What you say, Zeke?
I ain't married no quart.
I ain't either.
I know that's right. Look.
No, sir.
Right.
If I'm 10 gallon, I ain't even marrying a gallon. Okay.
Right. I mean, we have to be equally yoked. And how do you find out whether you're equally yoked with someone? You find out whether you're equally yoked or have the same morals, the same values. How do you view money? Because see, people use this term equally yoked, and I just thought about it like, wait a minute, everybody's not a church kid, right? Everybody's not familiar with the language that we're using. So equally yoked means, do we have the same values when it comes to money? Is money a tool to you, or are you excited by having the newest car? You know what I'm saying? Do you value education at all? Right. What's the highest educational attainment that anybody in your family has ever had? Right. What do you consider important when it comes to your faith? Are you a Christian, or are you Muslim? Are you Jewish? Like, what is your background? Do you like to travel? If you don't like to get flued out, I don't know that I can really fool with you, because
I can't do nothing with you. As my son would say, Nathaniel.
Okay, yes, do Nathaniel, baby. Like, no, absolutely not. You don't have, you know what I'm saying? Like, can you get a passport? Yes, we can. I work with you if you don't have a passport. But if you're afraid of getting on the plane,
and then I do it. Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a whole lot of things. Guess what, though? All of those things is why it requires dating, so that you can get to know those things. And however, if you pay attention, you will find out real soon, because some things is a given early on, and you find out. And it's a lot of things that I just think that I should not have to compromise on. Absolutely. And my morals and all of those things. Yeah, I'm not. What you about to say, Zeke?
I'm about to say, I hate this. I think my phone getting ready to die. I gotta go get my charger. Sorry.
Okay, so log back in, please.
I know, right? Log back in. Come to my house.
I think I still got a couple minutes, but I think it's about to die. So,
so real quick,
right, real quick. So you need to start walking this way.
Yeah.
Well, you told me you want me to walk in the background.
Well, I don't. Turn that, go off, and then walk this way, and then you can get back on right here.
Yeah.
All right.
So literally, though, let's talk about this double standard to dating that may exist. Right. Because do you think, or have you seen where there is a double standard? And again, I want to reiterate to folks, dating, there's not one definition, not one of us on this episode of Queen Bee has defined dating as having anything to do with sex. We are not talking about having sex with people. Right. And I really think that's where people get it twisted. Right. Because if you're dating, and we're going to go back to this double standard, because the double standard is a lot of times connected to sex, right? And so men can have multiple partners, but if a woman has multiple partners, then she's a hoe, she's a slut, you know what I'm saying? And so, but when it comes to dating, y'all, dating does not include sex, at least not for us. I know not for me.
Not for me.
That's not an option. Like, we're not having sex just because we're dating. Dating means that we're going out to dinner, that we're getting to know each other, that we're going to movies, that we're going bowling, that we are maybe getting to the point where we hold hands, right? And if the connection elevates beyond just dating into like an actual relationship, because dating, as Zeke said, right, you continue that, right? There's stages to that thing. You getting to know somebody. Once you know them well enough, you want to invest in them more deeply.
Right.
Now we become a couple. Okay. Now you're intentionally dating. This is dating with intention.
Right.
The intention being married.
And there's a difference. Okay. So this is the way I look at it. You're dating, that's getting to know each other. You're dating with intention. That's after you've dated them a few times and you feel like, you know, a lot of times rather, spent time with them and you like, maybe I could, you know, we could go to the next. So now we're dating with intention.
Yeah.
Now, as we're dating with intention, we still liking what we see and what we know about the person, and they ain't mental and I ain't went crazy on them and we good. Then we'll get in a relationship. And to me, that's when we decide to be exclusive. Okay, so now we're in a relationship and it's okay for me to call you my boyfriend and you to call me your girlfriend. However, you know, we in a relationship. But then there's the engagement. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm the fiance. You know, and we've come kind of one, but we're not there yet. But that don't mean you living with me. That don't mean I'm living with you.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? All of those things come into play. We miscategorize a whole lot of stuff when it comes to relationships because I'm just the fiance. I done heard of a lot of relationships breaking off, you know, in this stage. Because none of these stages are stages that you can't do, that you can't get out of. But then after the fiance, now we're married. We're husband and wife. We're supposed to grow old together. But some way we missed it. So let me ask you a question, though, and I got to ask this. Now we see.
Come on here.
So all of them stages we just named, right? So tell me, at what stage does sex come?
So for me, I have typically not waited. At this point in my life, though, sex is not coming before we get married. Like that's my goal. That is literally my intention at this point.
Right.
Because sex clouds judgment, right?
Oh
when you introduce sex, it's like, and I know a lot of people gonna be like, are you fucking serious? Like, yeah, because it clouds judgment. And so I want to be able to look at you through like the like real clear, like I clean my glasses off lenses and not be looking at like, okay, well, you know, now especially women, we get attached to men because we don't want to be looked at as sluts. And so now we are staying in this toxic crap, right? All because we don't want to move on. So the more we stop having sex, you know what I'm saying? The more we require, because a man who really wants you, that's not even how he come at you. Like real talk. And I promise you, I can run down, like literally right now, I can run down through my phone and show like the difference between the way a man approaches a woman who he loves and respects versus the way he handles a woman who you're a one-hitter quitter. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, let me tell you a way that I hate this approach. But a guy that I dated, I broke up with him. He was a nut. But anyway, he always calls me, but I've had other men do this to me too, and I don't know why. Now I don't even know why they would try it with me. When you gonna let me take you out? I'm like, nigga, when you learn how to ask.
Oh, correct.
I said, first of all, to say to me, when you gonna let me take you out, is me asking you to take me out. Because that meant I got to say to you, hey, you want to take me out on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? You know what I'm saying? No, because if you want to take me out, you're gonna plan. You're gonna put forth some effort. Hey, Kim, are you busy this weekend? No, I'm not. Would you like to go to dinner? Would you like to go to a movie? But when you gonna let me take you out?
But you know what that is, though, Kim. You know what that is, and this is why sex is actually introduced so early. I think is the fear of rejection,
right?
Because
and I know that, and that's what I told
like
him.
That.
You always said, I said, no, you're taking the punk way out because you don't want me to say no. So what you want is to turn it on me and make me have to ask you out.
Right.
I'm not doing it because I don't even like you.
Come on, sis.
I don't even like you. You were annoying to me.
Right.
When I dated you, I dated him 1 year, and I realized I don't even like you.
Yeah.
No. So you can ask. I say that to him because one, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
But even if he asks me the correct way, the answer is probably still gonna be no.
But see, it's that fear of rejection. And so think about being a woman, maybe with a kid or two, you know what I'm saying? You don't know, like he might be a desirable man, you know, and so y'all go out on a date, like strictly date, right?
Right.
But the thing that you don't want to do is to turn him off, right? You want to keep him. So you think that, okay, well, let me extend, or I think, right? Let me extend myself the one way that most people are not going to say no. And you don't think men are going to say no, right? If he respects you, sis, he's going to say no. If y'all have not really gotten to know each other and he respects you and he wants to love on you for real with all of your flaws, right? No makeup, no wig, right? No waist trainer, no girdle, no Spanx, no, you know what I'm saying? If he wants to love on you, your mind, your body, your spirit, that thing is gonna feel different, and he's not gonna tell you. Yeah, like because it shouldn't be that simple.
It's right.
It should not be that simple to be in between your legs, sis. I'm telling you, life lessons. Like, if we really look back over our lives and consider the things that we have gone through as women in this dating process, taking sex out of what we now consider, because dating, a lot, again, we are defining dating as not having anything to do with sex.
Right.
But so many people, when they say that I'm dating someone, they're talking about sex. And it's like, babe, he don't love you for real. You know, he loves the convenience of your twat.
You know what me and one of my friends calling that? I'm companioning. It's companioning. We just companioning. That's it.
Yeah.
And that ain't sex either. That is dating. But that's our word for it, companioning. That's it. That's all I'm doing. You know, I told this guy one time that I want to be with a person who I am mentally, physically. So here's the deal. Let me just say this. I want to be in a relationship where I can be mentally, physically, financially, spiritually connected to. You know what I'm saying? Every aspect, because that is, to me, what makes a whole and happy relationship.
Yep.
And the only way you can achieve that is when you are totally free, totally honest to talk about whatever. Now, here's the deal. I had a guy that I used to date. He cheated. We broke up. And he cheated with a girl that looked like a dude. Like, she did. She looked like a dude. I'm like, oh my God. Something's
like, what you doing, sir?
Like a dude, yeah. Knock yourself out. And actually, he's still in a relationship with her. I'm like, you must love her. He said, I don't. He said, she's convenient. She don't say nothing. She don't question me. And I said, well, no, she don't, because she know what she looked like. She knows the chances. She had been single a very long time. She knows what her chances are if you ever leave. So you cheat and now we talk a lot, he and I. So you do whatever you do just because he cheat on her. He cheat with his ex-wife.
Oh, wow.
He would cheat with me if I let him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's amazing to me how we don't even know. And we would be willing to stoop to that level.
Yeah.
just to say we got a man.
Yeah.
The sad part is this, I can't talk about her or nobody else because I've been there too.
Yeah.
You know, I've been
Yeah.
there too. But I honestly believe that it is so important that we, one, start here, search here, and figure out what it is that you want in a relationship. And I do mean all the way. What you want out of it, but you gotta be willing to give what it is that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't want to lie, then you don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a man that's hardworking and a provider, then
try to get that bonnet off your head and go out here and get a job.
Right. You at least be doing what you got to do for you.
Right.
At the very least.
Right.
Because I am not that chick that's gonna be asking. If a man do something for me, it's because he want to. It ain't because I'm asking.
You better say that.
I will never ask a man to do anything for me.
Correct.
Girl.
And see, that's the thing, you know, and I know that there's some women that'll probably side eye this while they're watching, like, ooh, I'm gonna ask him. But the thing for me, I was not raised that way. You know, I that's not something.
If you're not my husband, no.
No,
I'm not doing it. I'm not,
because you know, like this 9.5 year situation, he would walk in the house and was like, you don't never ask me for nothing. I'm like, I shouldn't have to. You know, when you flick that switch, the Alabama Power is a part of this process.
Right there. If he give it to
you know my address. So if you stop by there and pay the bill, that's on you. Thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, don't
you for that, no.
Absolutely not. I got this.
I can hold.
And there's a difference. And I want to encourage my sisters, because for real, there is a difference when a man wholeheartedly loves you. He will break his neck to do stuff for you just because you mentioned it. I had a man, I mentioned something I wanted for my son, and literally 2 days later, he pulled the truck up with the thing on the trailer, and I'm like,
like, that is so, to me, it's important, because the minute you make yourself vulnerable to him, to the giving, to the doing, then you just set yourself up to have to stay, because you're relying on what he's giving. I don't, because I don't ask for nothing.
Right. Okay.
I'm a whole
when you're asking. Okay.
If he give, great. But if he don't, it's still great. But guess what? You better know, I'm paying attention to his tail.
Mm-hmm.
And if he ain't helping, ain't giving, ain't nothing, guess what? I know you're not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I shouldn't have to ask.
Had a situation recently.
Pay attention. Yeah.
Had a situation recently. I'm sorry to cut you out, but listen, this girl, we went for lunch, right? And a guy, you know, he walked up, whatever, seemed interested, and she was like, "Ooh, I'm about to learn something." I said, "Okay, watch." And so we're at the restaurant, got our food. You let me pay, knowing you're sitting here with 2 women. And so when we got in the car, I said, "Now you already know." And she was like, "Yeah." I said, "So no, the fact that you extended yourself to say that you would accompany, right? But you didn't even try, like, to interrupt the payment process."
That's when I know you ain't for me.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So see, I pay attention to everything.
Yep.
And little stuff like that. Like, I'm a giver. I am. But if I'm dating you and you ain't doing jack, like, yeah, why am I waste my time? Like, I know early on that you're not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because of where I came from, what I like to do. I like to be in relationships with people that surprise, that gives, that do, you know what I'm saying? Because I do that. And if I know that's not you, then there's no need, because then I'm going to be unsatisfied. You know what I'm saying? Because you are doing, oh, I never did that. Okay. Well,
okay.
That just means you're not for me. And that's what my girlfriend's like. Why would you just give up on it? He could change. Girl, if that boy ain't no giver. So that's what I mean when I say I don't want you to change.
Right.
It's not who you are.
Right. Okay.
You ain't no giver. You don't do, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I ain't mad at you.
Right.
You're just not for me.
You're not my person.
Yeah, you're not him.
Exactly. And so it's important. Y'all, we have talked, been a little bit over an hour.
Wow.
We have talked about this thing called dating. We define dating. So if you just now tuning in, you got to go back to the beginning in order to hear each of our definitions. We miss Zeke. We love you, boo.
I know.
The three of us gave our own definitions of dating. We did talk a little bit about biblical dating. We talked about why dating is important, the stages to dating as we see them, the double standard of it all, right? And we definitely talked about sex and the fact that just because you're dating somebody does not mean that you have to be sexually engaged with them. There is such a profound feeling of freedom and self-love when you don't have to tap into what people define as, well, I need to have sex. No, you really don't need to. You really don't, because when you learn how to control that, desire, and even if you're dating somebody that you are sexually attracted to, then that just means that you have to have boundaries, right? That means that you really shouldn't be in spaces alone. That means that you shouldn't really like get too close. Like, if he got a beard and he smell real good and that's your weakness, or he got a bald head and he, you know what I'm saying, dark skin, whatever. Like, if that's and you like, wait now. Then in order to make sure that you don't cross that, don't be in spaces alone, right? Don't even drive.
Don't put yourself in that position.
That's not a good thing.
Right. Don't put yourself in that position. But guess what? If you know he ain't good for you, don't do it.
Right.
Get out.
Why be miserable and make them miserable? Because if you're miserable, you're going to make the other person miserable. Why waste that kind of time? Y'all, life is too short. Y'all saw all them people that just died in that little capsule down in that ocean.
Right.
COVID, we lost thousands of people in this country, and hundreds of thousands of people around the world.
Almost millions.
Around the world. We did. Around the world, we lost millions of people.
Yeah.
Time is winding up. Life is way too short, y'all, for us to live in misery. If he is not making you happy, if she is not making you happy, honey, be alone. Figure out what it is that you want. Right. What is it that you need? Grow your relationship with God. Because if it's one thing that I have been able to do this past year, it is to grow my relationship with God. I know that Romans 8:28 is true, that all things work together for the good.
For the good.
So regardless of what it looks like, sis, I promise you, all things work together for the good. Regardless of what your experiences have been, take those as lessons. Journal about that stuff. Write that stuff down, boo, so that you can make your list and when you send that list up to God, he knows exactly what to deliver. And I'm not going to say that it's not going to come without challenges. Right. But he will deliver exactly what you asked for.
And I want to say this too, because you mentioned list. Do you know, and I do this even today, when I meet people, I got a notebook in there. Pros and cons. Really? Pros and cons.
I like
the
that.
Pros to keeping them in my life and the cons. And when my cons outweigh the pros, you got to go. Like, I literally name everything from loud ghetto talk. I mean, it's silly, but I do it because I only want people who is going to add value.
Yeah.
I don't want any more non-value added asses in my life. I don't need that. I've had that. I've spent a lot of years with people, girls and guys, and you know what I'm saying? And I don't mean in a gay way. I'm just saying like friends.
Yeah,
they weren't even my friends. And I knew that. I didn't want to be by myself. So I just kept, hanging around them. And I'm knowing they talking about me, telling my business. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Everybody I meet, they going in the book, honey. You
Yeah.
don't get the pros and the cons. And I am going to revisit that list as time progresses. And
Yeah.
if that con list ever outweigh that pros, you got to go. I do it so I can't help it because I feel like I need that. And
Yeah.
then I'd be like, okay, God, I need you to show me. Like this right here is a little bit scary. This might be an equal thing. Now it's on you. You tell me.
Mm-hmm.
You show me what it is. Because if I need them gone, if you need them gone, I need them to be removed. And I don't
Absolutely.
care who it is. And that's just how I feel about it. And especially men, though, I do it all the time. I do a pros and a cons list about with men. I do. That's why I can tell you I pay attention. I pay attention. And I remember telling a friend of mine, Tony, I said to him, I said, when you meet people, just listen to them. Don't be so
Mm-hmm.
quick to talk. So like sometimes we get so caught up in talking and laughing and whatever that we miss and we
The
not paying
queen.
attention. Yeah, we missed it. We miss everything God trying to show us about
Mhm.
this person. And then later on, it might be 2 months, it might be 6 months, it might be 2 years. Then you look like, girl, let me tell you what she did or what he did. And then I'm thinking like, but how you didn't know? It
Right.
was there. It was there in probably week 2. You just chose to ignore it. Like, because you were so busy laughing, talking, and good timing, you ignored. And
Laughing, talking, good timing, and having sex.
right.
Because
Yeah.
once you
Let's not leave
introduce,
that out.
yes, because once you introduce sex, it turns into a totally different thing. I
Right.
really want to encourage folks, y'all. You heard it right here first. Kim Moon, Positively Beautiful. Get you a notebook, baby.
You
Get you a
better.
look. Get your look. Do your sticky notes, right? However you need to do it. Do your pros. List your pros. List your cons, put them up on the mirror. Do I really
I'm
like this
telling you.
dude? Do I really like this girl? What are the things that I enjoy about them? What are the things that disgust me about them? What are the things I'm afraid of related to
Right.
them? And that can help us as individuals
See
identify
people.
those things and make that list.
It helps you
Because,
see people.
yeah,
It helps you see people for who they are. You ain't saying that bad about them. You're
right,
really saying
exactly.
you're just writing in your book, they name going at the top.
Yep,
Pros, cons. You're just naming what has existed in your life with them,
right.
who they are,
Mm-hmm.
what they do, how they do it, if you like it, if you don't like it. It doesn't matter. It's not a bad thing. It is how I identify who should be there and who should not.
It makes it less about, it takes it out of that person, honestly, right?
Right.
And like you said, it's not a good or bad thing. It's like it literally removes the stigma, right? And it allows you to truly like look at that person on paper as
Yeah.
if you're interviewing them for a job or something, which
Right.
they really are. Like that is. I mean, dating is a job interview.
It is. It
Are
is.
you the best candidate, bruh?
And let me tell you something. If you don't already start having sex with them, you might well go and put that on there too. But you
Yep.
better, I mean, put that on the list. Like
Yeah.
it's this, it okay. And no disrespect, but this is raw, but it's real. But this is Queen B. Do they have good sex?
Mm-hmm. But
Most
see,
people
that's where
like
the
oral
downfall
sex,
be at too now. That's
huh?
where part of the problem can come in at, especially when you talk about staying in
Not
toxic
not
situations.
when you put everything on the like. That's for the people who are you don't already have sex with them. But
Okay.
there's a lot of people when if you make up in your mind that regardless of how this turns out,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if the con list outweigh because if all I got over here is he got a big penis and he know how to eat coochie and that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And all this is over here. He lie, he cheat, he steal, he
Right.
won't pay for nothing. I'm taking care of you. Baby, I don't care how this list turn out. If that's all over there,
Right.
You run, Forrest.
Please.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you already having sex, do your pros and cons.
Yeah.
Because never should your con list outweigh your pros list for a person in your life.
Yeah.
And I don't care who that is. Girl, guy, whomever. It should never, because that's not how it works. But guess what? This is the thing, to do the list, you have to be willing to be totally honest with yourself. Ain't nobody seeing it but you. Ain't nobody seeing it but you. Just be totally honest.
Yeah.
Totally honest and open with yourself. Ain't nobody seeing it with you. Because I'm telling you, I done did my list, and then I done went back. You know, I'm like, okay, right now, these pros is doing good over here. But as you get to know people,
right,
relationships evolve, you start seeing things about them that you don't particularly care for, and then you realize, oh yeah,
this ain't gonna,
this ain't gonna work, because you done start writing more things. That's why I do it in a notebook. And so when when you open up the page, you got two sides. When it's open, the book is open, you got two sides. Yeah.
So, like I said, you heard it here first. You want a strategy to dating. You want to figure out whether you need to keep dating the person that you are currently dating. Are you trying to figure out whether you may need to go back to someone you were dating and just really didn't observe all the great things about them? Get a notebook.
Yep.
Dollar Tree, it's gonna be a little bit more than $1 now. It's like $1.25 tree, but that's cheap because it can save you money, heartache, and it can save your life in the long run. Y'all imagine if you had done this for past relationships that have tortured you physically,
right?
That have caused you financial strain, that have caused you emotional turmoil, that have drawn you away from God. Right. Imagine if you had done this. So you heard it here first. Kim Moon, Positively Beautiful, on Queen Bee Live. Listen, we have had an awesome time. We have run over time talking about this hot topic of dating. If you are just tuning in, go back to the beginning, watch the whole thing, chop it up into pieces, send it to TikTok, do what you got to do, baby. Let's learn, share, and grow together. Kim, thank you. And listen, when you get with Zeke, tell him thank you too.
I will.
Like, what is you doing? How you on the whole show and you don't even have your phone charged? Like, come on now.
Charger. Like, who does that?
Hello? Like,
who does that?
We're professional. Like,
let's sit down. We're not gonna be walking around.
Listen, so we want to say thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Denisha. Everybody that has chimed in and commented. We appreciate you for being here. And until the next edition of Queen Bee, y'all, Queen Bee out here dating yourself before you out here dating these raggedy dudes.
Listen, ain't nothing wrong with dating. Just know who you are and whose you are while you're dating.
Don't
settle for anything less than what you deserve.
Absolutely. All right. So we'll see y'all next month.
Peace out.